Guys, I got a confession. I broke the Jetta coupe. That's right, the Jetta on the drive behind me is broken. Yeah, let's jump in the Jetta and I need to get some fuel and I'll tell you why. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was on my way to Caffeine and Machine for the Mark II Golf meetup and disaster struck. I was halfway into my journey there and all of a sudden the fuel gauge dropped to 0. That's right, the car was running perfectly. I was in a really good place. We tuned the carb so it's running absolutely spot on. It's not over fueling, it's not running rich. It was just a really nice drive in the sunshine. And then, as I say, all of a sudden, that fuel gauge dropped to 0. Now, for the last couple of weeks, since then, I've just been stopping at petrol stations whenever I see one before I go out on a journey. So I'm on my way to the barn today to do this and a couple of other things. And first things first, I've got to go to the petrol station because every time I drive this car, I have to stop for fuel because I don't want to run out on the side of the road. Now, I could just say, well, it'll do 300 miles to a tank, but it's a 3-speed automatic with a carburetor. There's no exact science to how many miles you get out of a tank in this. Better safe than sorry. Let's go fill this up. Now, while I fill up, let's have a quick 60-second montage of the Mark II Golfs at Caffeine and Machine. And the turnout couldn't have been any better. And we were so lucky, the weather was gorgeous. So it was a great evening with a great bunch of Mark IIs. Now this is only a small selection of what was there, but I think you'll agree, 50, 60 plus Mark II Golfs in a pub car park, what more could you ask for? Now this Jetta kind of caught my eye because it's a Jetta, but also it was far from standard. The interior is absolutely beautiful as well. But there was one thing that really caught our eye. We were walking around and it wasn't a Mark II Golf. That's right, it's this. Do you know what it is? Can you guess? It was a Mark I Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Absolutely awesome bit of kit, 280 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive. So if you haven't got to Caffeine and Machine yet, absolutely worth the trip because you never know what you might find. Now we're back at the barn. It's time to get the Jetta coupe inside, take the carpet out and have a look at this sender. Is it a sender? Is it a wiring issue? Is it the clocks? Let's find out. Whoa. That looks like that's going to be fun.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Untouched for 40 years.
Someone trust.
See, it's often the way with old Volkswagens is that if it's just old and crusty, it's okay. If you're dealing with someone else's bodges, you're in for a bad time. Well, it's a sender.
Right, turn the ignition on, see if it powers up. Should go up.
All right, let's have a look. Right, so the moment of truth with that bridged, is the fuel gauge going to work and is Stephen the dog going to be quiet? Right, testings. Yep. Wow. Looks like for one piece of wire, that is the cheapest way to fill a tank on your Volkswagen. You don't need petrol, just a small piece of wire and stick it in. Job done. For more inflation beating tips, like this video and subscribe to the channel. I guess we just need to wait and see if it registers any fuel. Bearing in mind, this probably had half a tank in it and I put 20 quid in this morning. I think we're safe to say that the sender's dead. Yeah. So just trying it again, just in case unplugging it, plugging back in works, just a bit of dirt. Not the case. The fuel gauge has gone straight back to 0. So it looks like the sender needs swapping out and hopefully this will be back on reliable daily duties.
This is a later tank. This is C2 tank.
Yeah.
Not C1.
Son of a bitch.
But it might be able to work. Yeah.
Now the problem we've got is that the Jetta is an 84, so it's a CE1. A lot of the other stuff in the barn is either a GTI or a CE2. So it means we've got a couple of spare tanks that we've taken out of conversions before and obviously put Mark III tanks and pumps in. So we've got a bunch that we've taken out of drivers over the last couple of years, but obviously they're all CE2. So we need to swap the wiring over. It's not ideal, but to be fair, I'm going to be changing the wiring on that car anyway, because I'm going to have to fit a later sort of sender when I go to change the engine over anyway. So for now, we're going to just splice a later plug into that loom and it'll be absolutely fine. We'll drop the later sender in and then we're good to go. It's only a temporary measure because, as I say, we're going to be swapping this out soon anyways. But for now, we need to keep this on daily duties while we get some of these other things wrapped up. So with the fuel pipes off, the sender unplugged, I need to beat that out and then just swap it over. La-di-da, apparently there's a proper tool for doing this. I mean, the way I see it, Sam, if the tool works, it is the proper tool. Right up. Switch was broken. Where have we got it? Oh yeah, there we go. It's the same as on that other one. Is it broken or has it just come unglued or come loose?
If you look down there, you can see it's actually where it's supposed to be connected.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that track got burnt as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 40 years on the road, near as. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? And just like that, the replacement's in. I say just like that. It's just like that because Sam's done it. I've just sat here waving a camera around. Nothing new. So yeah, yeah, just put it back in, tighten it up, put the pipes on. We're gonna have to put some new Jubilee clips on and then swap that wiring over and we should have a working fuel gauge. Now with that all buttoned up, we can get this out and get cracking with a couple of other bits and pieces in here. So I'm gonna have a look at the Mrs. car and Sam is also gonna take a look at the T5. I know you guys are desperate to see this back on the channel. Now fingers crossed it's not gonna be too much longer. So as I said before, we've changed out the injectors for new or refurbished injectors. The turbo's back on. So hopefully some last minute buttoning up and then this is back, ready to drive, ready to do some more videos with. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff to do. It needs converting into a camper and a whole bunch of other cool stuff as well. So while Sam tightens up the injectors, I'm gonna go get the Tiguan. So since doing the actuator, I've noticed that there's a new fault code, a new problem with this. So when I just drive it and you hold the revs a little bit, the workshop light comes on. And there we go. We normally get this problem around 2000 RPM, or if we hold the revs at any specific rev range for any period of time, unless we're doing sort of 70 miles an hour in fifth gear, and it'll be all right. But if you look at it, we get the glow plug lights flash and we had the workshop warning on the dash. So clearly there is something very wrong. Now for good measure, we've also got a P2015 fault, which again relates to the flaps on the inlet manifold. So it would stand to reason that we've got a problem with the inlet manifold on this diesel Volkswagen engine. So I guess we're going to need to take it apart and have a look and potentially replace the flaps or just the complete inlet manifold assembly. So let's get this in the workshop and we'll have a look. Now by this point, it's starting to feel like deja vu. I think it's kind of just muscle memory now. We've done it so many times. So we're going to start with taking the injector rail out and the injector lines, along with pulling the glow plug plugs off and just about everything else off that's in the way as well. So we've got to undo these hoses to get the fuel lines out of the way. Then there's the Jubilee clip at the bottom of the inlet where the boost hose goes in. And then, to be honest, the fiddliest thing is taking off the 10mm bolt that holds the dipstick tube in place, because you've got to get the Jubilee clip out of the way first. It's all quite straightforward stuff, and as I say, we've done it so many times that it just feels like another day at the barn. And just taking the last of those Torx bolts out of the inlet manifold. Just need to give it a little bit of a wiggle, make sure everything's free, and then it should just slide out of position. Now looking at that, those flaps look like they're functioning okay. So did they need changing? I don't know, but we're here and we'll see if it makes a difference. Now, luckily we've got a new inlet manifold here. with a set of flaps in as well. Now, that's right, you guessed it. This was sent to us by our friends at Max Pedin Rods, and you can get yourself one of these or a whole host of other replacement car parts with a 10% discount site-wise using the code BarnClub22. Links in the description. Go and check it out. And as I say, BarnClub22 will get you 10% off across the site. So you too can get yourself a discount. Now, let's get this on the car and see what happens. So with the new inlet manifold bolted up to the flapper motor, stepper motor.
Runner flap motor.
The runner flap motor, there we go, thank you, Sam. So we put the runner flap motor back on, we've put the EGR back on as well, giving that a good clean out, and the throttle body. Yeah, it's kind of now just doing everything in reverse and putting it back together. We've put the sort of little adapter on that kind of centralizes the flapper. Runner flaps, yes. So we put the little adapter on, they're like £10 off of Amazon. We've put that on to centralize the runner flaps. That way they're either fully open or fully closed. They can't go past fully closed or fully open. Fully open. Thank you, Sam, again. So they can't go past fully open. So that means that hopefully we won't get any dodgy readings from it. So with the new inlet manifold and the runner flap motor modification, fingers crossed, it should be good to go. We've got the new inlet on, everything's buttoned up, and it feels like it's been a long journey with this car. But I think when it's been so broken for so long, and just, I mean, I guess once you unsettle everything in the engine and try and put it all back together, there are going to be some things that don't go back. There are going to be some things that just haven't kind of reseated properly, or just have just broken because, you know, old shit cars. So let's fire it up, turn it over, see what happens. Steve, what do you think? Is it good or is it bad? Professional opinion, is it fixed or is it still broken? What's that, Steve? What's that? Use the code BarnClub22 for 10% off at Max Pedin Rods. Let's fire it up. Now at this stage, it's important not to panic. There's no fuel in the fuel rail. It's going to take a couple of cranks to get the diesel up to the fuel rail and into get pressure into the fuel rail and get fuel into the injectors. So let's try again. That is always a good start. Now let's clear the old codes out and see if they come back. Do you know what I'm going to call it? We fixed the Tiguan. It's done, guys, it's done. Yes. Oh, look, I thought it was done, but we still had some work to do. We've changed the flaps. We've done that. We've got no warning lights. We've got no error messages. We've got no flashing glow plug lights. Do you know what, guys? I think this is it. The car is running like an absolute peach. I mean, I say that, we're gonna get some warning lights now. So I can give this back to my missus and I can get on with some of the stuff that's at the barn. That's right, the Tiguan has made it back home, so I think we can safely call this one a success. So I'm not sure whether it was because it needed new flaps. Now obviously we fitted the little mod as well, which is like a tenner on Amazon. Probably worth doing if you're tackling this job. But look guys, we've got the Tiguan done, we've made some progress with the T5, and of course we've got the Jetta Coupe back on daily duties. Thanks ever so much for watching. Next time we'll be doing some more content on the Mark II and maybe even the T5. So look, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.